kill me. You've not been here live streaming this whole time? I didn't hit the button to say go live. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's just talking to the camera.
Well, they have 14 minutes of video backed up, so they should be fine for entertainment at least.
Ah! Okay. Hi, how are you? You got the kill me in there. Go talk to the camera.
Hey, hi, so if there's anything you haven't seen before, we have 14 minutes to go where I forgot to hit the go live, but it was recording. I'm David Tilton-Joe, I'm the president of the club. I'm theoretically running the live stream and doing the best I can. Cassie, which you saw in the video before, is running the chat. Alan is also there helping her out. We have other people around here doing what they do. They're doing their job, making sure that the payload's secure. Todd over here knows what he's talking about when it comes to balloons, and he's the one that helped us to rig up everything. Jaden is behind the camera over by the helium. He has his own payload that's going on here. It's for a different project in a club called Havoc, which is just trying to stabilize a payload on a balloon as it goes up. Because originally the plan was, we have a lot of videos of it, of balloons, but whenever you try to watch from the balloon, it really makes it hard to watch without being nauseous, without getting sick. And his entire project is to try and slow down the spin. That way we can actually watch a video, and maybe we can put on payloads that are sensitive to rotations as they go up the atmosphere. Our payload will be explained to you once I can bring it out this way. Until then, it's going to sit in the back. I think Dr. Crumbs up here actually recorded a simple explanation of it earlier. Yep. Hope you have a good time. Is there anything you'd like to say on the street?
Oh, no.
No?
It's your gig, guys. I mean, I'm just a spectator. That's all.
Well,
And an admirer at the same time.
thank you.
No, it's not a compliment. It's true.
One thing I will say before we go back to that needs to be done. We're using a full tank of helium, and these are not the ones that you get for your birthday balloons. These are the big ones. I'll actually turn the camera around a little bit so you can kind of see what we're working with. It's over there. Behind the two men, first one is Evan, second one is Jaden. Down in the bottom right corner you can see Cassie and Alan again, they're just sitting on the ground. Well, behind this man, yeah, that is the tank of helium. It is massive. Helium doesn't come cheap anymore. And we are using that entire thing for this flight because we have a few kilograms of mass that we're trying to launch. It's a great time. Now back to the inside view. What do we got here?
This entire balloon line, so that's the entire balloon. It was like maybe 4.
This launch is about 4.5 kilograms, which is a lot for a balloon launch.
Except for your typical student balloon launch.
Battery life says it's fine so far. Hey Cassie, please keep an occasional eye on the battery life. And if it starts to die, I wouldn't mind getting a couple, it's like 16 AA batteries.
Where's the battery life?
16 AA battery.
Because we have 2 packs and they each take 8.
Where are they at?
Well, when I say get something, it's store.
Driving.
I'm sorry. I will reimburse you.
Will it just start blinking or something?
Oh, this is just this battery thing.
Okay.
Yeah. thanks for telling me we weren't live earlier. I would have gone the entire time without actually going live.
We have 17 viewers. Yeah. I can't believe I forgot to hit the go live button.
Okay, so we're gonna fill it right now. Is that good?
Yeah, and okay, you got this. So only quickly. We'll take it over. No complicated. Actually, I'll wait. We'll get the spot. Because that's our section.
So, spot record, what do you need for?
Someone or somebody who's going to maybe block it. Yes, sir.
All right. We are going to start filling up the balloons. So I want to turn this mirror.
It's done. You guys mind listening to us again because sorry, just quickly, it doesn't have to be anything sorry.
We're going to go back and forth again.
Yeah, there's something. Oh, there. My bad.
Good.
You guys are in frame.
Contractors acting like it's being I haven't gotten it yet. I got traction yesterday.
All right.
Well, it is.
Are we going?
That is. Oh,
Yes,
hi.
I know.
Let's wait
I
on
had to
this
warn you
signal,
guys.
but then we do both. Yeah. All right. All right. Lizzle.
This is the light one, right?
Yeah. Okay, I thought you might have been doing
No,
that.
that's all right, no worries.
Alright, so I'm David Kutanju. I'm the president of Space Hardware Club. I'm just trying to put the outreach payload on here and do my best. Next to me is Adam.
Yeah, I'm just a member of the Havoc Project.
Yep.
I'm Todd. I'm also a member of the Happy Project, and I'm helping out the launch today.
He's the one that knows balloons and what he's doing.
I'm Jaden Stark. I am the manager of balloon flights at the Space Hardware Club and the leader of Project Havoc.
Yep. As we're able to bring out the payloads in a little bit, we're going to explain them after they come out. We have some earlier recording of them, however, we're going to do it quickly.
All right, we're gonna start filling up the balloons.
Which might take 5 to 10 minutes, but if it hasn't done it in 5 to 10 minutes, so we're just a that. And it's a problem.
Fill it up until it reaches neutral buoyancy, and then you can set it on the spring scale. Start. So Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna hold it.
How you always do it before it's off? Oh, okay.
Grab the balloon membrane as much.
We're using almost all of that for this balloon, but this is a pretty large balloon. We have a project that's planning to fly 4 balloons at a time into a thunderstorm, and they're launching 6 times this month. So it ends up being 24 tanks they buy. And
It's not cheap, but it's not very expensive at the same time.
no, it's still obtainable. But yeah, it's still pricey. What? This is a 1,600 room balloon. Big boy. How are we doing, Dave? We're right about 10. It's kind of big for us. We're trying to get to 14.
I'm gonna share all these videos with you guys. I'll get the link.
It was blinking. It was blinking in time with the power thing.
Oh, well, that means it didn't respond. It flashes rapidly. But that means if you had a GPS lock, it'll probably go. It doesn't like sitting in one location for too long because it's not moving. So it'll kind of deactivate. But once it goes on the balloon, it'll just. Oh, I'm opening it now. Okay. So let me hold on to it. If you want to swap with me real quick, we're looking for 10 going to 14 time. We're about 10 and a half.
Guys, is it possible to move the camera a bit closer because the sound is a bit.
Yeah, leave it wherever you want.
I try to be gentle.
Feel free to move the chair too if you need.
Oh, okay. That should be fine. Can you hear us now? Okay.
Hello. How are you? There's gonna be like a 7-second delay on the stream as well. Oh, Emma.
What? Gosh, I think this is a Japanese company. Chinese Japanese company. Chinese.
You want to say this to the camera because they
Yeah. So, this balloon, I think it's what, a 1,600 gram balloon?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, it's a big boy. And we are, and I believe we're emptying out that entire helium tank into this thing. That's 400 cubic feet, I believe. Now, the reason we're actually inflating it outside is because once it's full up and ready to go, it's going to have 15 pounds of force just lifting it. And we do not want to try and bring that outside of the door. Not to mention, it's going to be so wide, we risk popping it if it latches onto anything. So once it's filled up, we just need to hold it as hard as we can as we attach every single payload on. And then we just let it go. Or we bring it out a little bit more that way, just a bit, to make sure it doesn't hit the building. So we just let it go up, and we try it, and we keep tracking it with the same software that we gave to you guys. Hey Cassie, what other questions are they asking? Or that need to be answered in general?
Answer if the balloons harm the environment.
Can the balloons harm the environment?
Latex is natural. It's great.
Well, we have, I think we did, okay, it's gone wild. God help.
I can try to answer this. I can try to answer this question.
Everything's going wild, man. Isn't that like, oh, okay.
Hi guys, I'm I don't know if you can see me. P.E.R.S.I.S.T from Physics UAH.
It's just going up and down.
To answer your question if the balloons can harm the environment, Well, let me give you an analogy here. We have so much space junk from, missiles and spaceships that we have sent and satellites, whatnot. The balloons will do zero harm compared to the other space junk that is right now orbiting the Earth. So the answer, I guess, is no. But it's a very good question.
Good. Any other questions?
Why did we choose today to launch?
We chose today to launch because it was far enough out from when we got the initial idea, and it's Tuesday is good for your class. Honestly, that's what went into it. Aside from that, we were just checking the weather every so often to make sure it wasn't going to rain when we tried to launch this thing.
And they always check their horoscope. As good scientists do, right?
What else do they want?
What about weather balloons is interesting even if you're not a space enthusiast?
Let me check what we wrote down earlier for that one. Sometimes that's fairly important. Well, weather balloons provide a lot of important data for everyone that's not even interested in space and science. Like if you're a farmer, for instance, sometimes you have to send up a weather balloon to just try and take a vantage point of what your land is looking like at the moment. Right now, nowadays we have drones, but in the older days you had to use balloons. They're also used to predict natural disasters like tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods, which even if you're not a scientist or anything, that's pretty important to know and understand. Like, is your home about to be destroyed? Sometimes these weather balloons are very good for that. They're also very useful for contacting people around the world. For example, Todd is working on a different project. We like to call it ASH, which is just small balloons that have been traveling around the globe over and over and over again, and people around the world have been able to track it, talk to it, put things on the website for it. If he wants to give you the information for it, well, if you want to find more information on that project, you can go to space.uah.edu and you can find the ASH project, ASH.
And I would like to add to this point that they are operational weather balloons throughout the entire world. So thousands of balloons are being launched during specific times during the day, usually between 4 and 6. And this information is used by forecasters that are running the weather forecasting models, and they use this information to feed their models to inform the computer that at this point in time the temperature, the pressure, and humidity is such and such, and these numbers, these observations help the models be more accurate in order to forecast. You can think of this as, say, you want to go from home to work, but if you check Google Maps, it tells you that there's an accident on this, at that point, at that location. If you follow that route where the accident is, you're going to be late, right? So you're going to take an alternative route, and this is what these balloons are informing the forecasting models, are informing for particular parameters that are very important in the models, which is temperature, pressure, humidity, how much water there is in the atmosphere, and so forth.
Yeah. Thanks for that thorough explanation. That was good.
I'm not sure if it was a thorough one, but it's...
Oh, it was more thorough than what I was giving. I'm going to turn around the camera now so you can see what the initial payload idea was going to be for this launch without all the extra fancy stuff. It's just in this little white box. So, down here, as you can see, this is an example of what people have made in the 2-month project that we showed you in the video earlier. For this one, they have the pressure sensor, the gyroscope, which is essentially, is it turning, how fast is it turning, which way is it turning, and so on. That information is coming from here. This one just records the pressure and the temperature of the atmosphere it's in. It needs a little hole in the payload for that. And this is the brains behind the operation. You may have heard of an Arduino. That one's called an Arduino Teensy. It's called that because it's very, very small, very tiny. These are all different switches, capacitors, resistors, so on. This little thing records all the information that is being read by these onto a small little card, a small little SD card. We're going to be able to take that out later and plot all the information that we get from it, its height, its speeds, and everything. Over here we have an example of what one of our bigger projects is doing. This is a very fancy version of this one. This one actually tracks, is it moving in the X direction, in the Y direction, in the Z direction. And as it does, it really measures just as its acceleration, which is what we need to know. And this is essentially a small computer because it has processing power, it has inputs, has power source and outputs and so on. It records all of its own information as well. Thank you very much. This is for the Project Saber, and it's a little bit more of an example that while engineering can sometimes be all about making it yourself and starting everything from scratch, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes you just have to find the right product and put them together in order to fulfill the goals of your project. Yep, so that's going to be the overall thing that we have in this one. There's also one more thing going in here that's coming in a couple minutes. It's a tracker. That way we don't lose the balloon, we don't lose the payload after it's landed, and we can find it and recover everything.
And can you tell us a little bit about the cost and how much the whole thing costs here?
Ooh.
Like ballpark, doesn't have to be accurate.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So, this little, the one that the students made, that one I think costs about 30 bucks to make, about 30 US dollars for all the individual parts. That does not necessarily include the wires and the solder and the time it took to put everything together, but as far as materials go, that costs about 30 US dollars. These ones, I think these ones together cost about 100 US dollars because they were pre-made and we bought them for this special purpose. Because this board over here, this little tiny computer, can actually run antennas. We're not running those antennas today, but the fact that it can do that makes it a lot more valuable to us so that we can talk to it while it's in the sky.
And it's going to be about like 25 kilometers, right?
Oh, it's going to be more like 29 kilometers, I think?
29, wow.
29 to 30 kilometers with 4.5 kilograms. I just got to unscrew it a little bit.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like this one.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to go up and down, you do that. You got to unscrew it and then do that. All right. And in the back, you see beautiful man Jaden doing the final touches on his Havoc payload, which he'll explain once he comes back out here. Back to the balloon. Yes, right now what we're doing is we're just holding on to the balloon with our dear life because it has 15 pounds of force just lifting it straight up, and we do not want that thing going anywhere. If you've ever let go of a normal balloon, this is a lot more expensive and a lot more dangerous.
Right? It can lift you. Like. Now this is a dangerous, very critical point, guys, because if they, God forbid, if they let go, that's it. We just wasted 300 US dollars into literally thin air.
Yep. And if that goes, if everything's tied on there correctly, all of this is going with it.
Oh, that I did not notice.
All of this is also still going with it. Yeah, so if that balloon goes right now, well, all that stuff I just showed you and the stuff on the ground next to it, that all goes up with it, and it's not going to have a safe landing either.
Yeah, you got to think about
Let me go help because I feel useless.
All right.
Okay, I'm about to let you put this in there.
All right. As I put that in, would you mind explaining the Havoc payload camera again?
I put it on the single last time I came.
Okay, so we can let go now. Let go. I have it. Yeah. All right, so now we can hold the string. So let's hold the string. Get a nice grip.
The way it's you can tape over it, but we know that the top of the lid is the upwards facing component of your payload, right? Yep. Okay, so we're trying that. That's fitting spot. Probably does, but we got to double extra sure that it's not going over. PSI and it was everything else is running good. Hopefully that would
Hopefully this actually works. I don't know. No, it has the.
Oh, it doesn't have time. If it doesn't, then it won't. If it does, then it's problem. Okay, so that means you're ready to take up your box.
Fantastic! Honey baked ham. Okay,
So the live stream camera is currently facing the balloon, so.
yeah, I can turn around.
Just a second. Well, I can just leave the camera too.
Alright. Oh, for those of you that heard me say honey baked ham, that's what's written on the top of our box.
Good. So now I think what we can do,
And back up a little bit.
Okay, well, I can try and pan up a little bit. Oh, you can't. Okay.
No, I can't. I just turned it the wrong way. My bad. Ah, there we go. There we go. That's good.
Okay, so we're at.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, so my name is Jaden Stark. I am the BalloonSat Program Manager at the Space Hardware Club, but I am also the leader of Project Havoc. Havoc is a balloon project, and our goal is to create a balloon payload that can control its rotation. So this is the current Havoc payload. As you can see, it has a large arm. These arms have thrusters on the end that shoot compressed air to produce torque and control the rotation of the payload as it ascends on the balloon line. So balloon payloads go really high up, and that's really cool. So we want to collect video from these things. But the problem is they spin very rapidly on the balloon line as they go up. They're all over the place. And so we've created a system that can try and counteract that rotation using a series of thrusters. We have a compressed air tank in the lower half of the payload body that supplies air to the thruster system. And we have 4 thrusters that make 2 pairs, one acting in a clockwise and counterclockwise rotation. So as the balloon ascends and it reaches a target altitude, the stabilization system will activate, and an internal gyroscope unit will measure the rotation of the payload. If that exceeds a set threshold, it will fire the complementary set of thrusters that will counteract that rotation and reduce the payload's rotation. So that's the purpose of Havoc. This is the second time we're flying this payload. This flight should activate at an altitude of 750 meters and try and limit rate of rotation to 30 degrees per second. So it should not exceed 30 degrees per second rotation during the duration of the flight, starting at 750 meters. So that's the gist of Project Havoc. Again, we are a part of the Space Hardware Club, so we have all kinds of projects like this. And I have to thank the entire Havoc team that's made this possible, many of whom are here today during this live stream. So thank you for listening to me talk. This is the Havoc payload.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ed. All right. I think she's ready, Bucks. What do I do now? It's just like this. Fantastic. There's nothing else I need to do.
Nope.
get it all nice and taped down.
It's out of our hands. The balloon deities are at play. Maybe land in
That's all
favorable
taped up?
conditions and not in a lake.
Honey baked ham.
Oh, it did ping again.
That is fantastic.
Okay, so I'll ping it.
Yeah.
They have it ready to be rigged up if you want to get the carabiner.
Yeah. Honey baked ham. That's just
Make
the
sure you tape it down.
that's just the brand of the box because the styrofoam box is good for insulation, and a lot of times they transport meat using it.
The Havoc payload is optimized for its mission because it's more of a cylindrical body. So we try and use that to avoid some of the more blunt faces of a large rectangular payload body. Granted, ours has still got flat faces on it. We're going to try and make it more streamlined in the future. Scabbard, or maybe, you know, you have carbon fiber body,
Well, that's the
you have a fiberglass body, you know, there's all kinds of neat options.
Yeah. Point of scabbard is to make more carbon fiber rollings again,
Yeah.
which I really want to do. But let's find out to work on.
It's pretty good. He's leaning a little bit high, I think. You can't adjust these now. If you pull this one, the one that we taped,
Yep.
I think we can do it.
So what's happening now is there's just a little,
We're back.
as we hold it up, it just leans a little bit. We need to balance it out. Otherwise, sometimes the torque isn't going to act exactly correctly to what we
Yeah,
want.
we want us to really be acting along the axes of the balloon line, which is going to be through the center of the payload. So we're really trying to get our payload balanced.
Pulling hard.
Are there any other questions that we need to answer, Cassie?
Not that I got.
None that you got?
Yeah,
All right.
right hand will
Lift
go
it up.
off. Yeah, these, you make sure, this is the one that you take. So, yeah, that, well,
I need you to pull
needs
this
to
up.
come this way, so let's see. Here, make those tight, taut, and that will be good. Because I'm holding it in a certain position. That is typically what you want me to hold the ball. It's easy to come up. Easy to tighten. That one is good, but this one's worse right now. So it needs to go for it. It did change, but this one's still tough. So listen, if I put it in a balanced position, like those two have slack.
Yep. And we're still alive?
Stop.
Fantastic.
Stop.
That was really embarrassing.
Set it on the ground. So listen, if you center it, if I look at it and I center it in the middle, these two have slack.
Well, the only one we changed was this one.
I know, but not, it wasn't great.
Yeah, yeah. So this is all the helium you're gonna put in, right? This is as inflated as.
Yes, sir. That is our volume at takeoff.
I certainly hope so because we've taped it up. This one.
Yeah. The balloon, of course, will expand as it ascends, and that's what's going to lead to it ultimately bursting.
Yeah, and when it bursts, it's going to be fantastic. We have 360-degree cameras on this thing as well.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned our
We did.
panoramic camera. Oh, you should talk about our
Oh, I'm going to mention this.
camera.
Cassie, you can get
That
it.
is like what? 4K?
It's 5K because of just
5K.
and it films a
Yeah.
completely panoramic view
So-
using two sets of lenses.
We have this 360-degree camera. If you look out if you look at our YouTube channel somewhere else, you can see other 360-degree video that we've also done with this. But this one will be with all of these payloads. As the balloon eventually bursts because of the altitude, you're going to see it just absolutely shred itself, becomes just confetti. It's going to be fantastic. But aside from that, you're going to get great views of the Alabama area.
Yeah, and of course that should be uploaded to our YouTube channel at some point. So
Oh, yeah.
you'll have an interactive video of this flight.
Yeah, and when it's on YouTube, you'll be able to just, you'll be able to take your mouse, you'll be able to just drag around, look
Or
at
your
all the different
smartphone.
viewpoints. Or if you're on your smartphone,
Or a
you can just,
virtual reality device.
yeah, you can just look around with that one. It's fantastic.
So who wants to try and give me a thin sliver of duct tape so I can go
Oh.
over here?
I know how to do this.
Do you have a spare one?
A spare 360 camera?
Yeah.
No, sir. We do not.
Would you like one?
We would like to get one because this is currently Todd's property. We have troubles with procurement.
What about a 4K? Would you settle with a 4K?
I'd settle for anything. Cameras are difficult for us to obtain. Oh, we don't need that one.
I will gift one to you, brand new.
Brand new. Well, I could put you in contact with
I
our
thought you had to go
faculty
around the thing,
advisor,
yeah.
Dr. Tondras, and he handles stuff like that. So if you do want to donate a camera, that would be excellent. So
I'm serious. I mean,
You're serious? Well, then that's fantastic. I can let you get in contact with Dr. Tondras.
You needed to go around the whole thing.
No, I need to go around like here, which I might use it since you've already done it. Okay, I need a better
Alright, well, it's still here.
I do have another question from YouTube.
Sure.
Pros and cons of passive versus active rotation compensation design.
So, this is another thing. When you use passive approaches for stabilizing balloon rotation, you cannot guarantee a fixed orientation or a fixed heading. So if we're using a traditional camera without a gimbal, which is common, and we have a GoPro embedded into our payload body, if we have a target that we're trying to film, I cannot ensure that this balloon payload, a couple kilometers in the sky, will be facing the direction I want it to. We might have sensors and beacons and such that can let it know where that is, but we need an active system that can try and move the payload to a set orientation or heading. And so this is one method. This method's good for high altitudes where there's less of an atmosphere. You might see payloads with active fin control, with aerodynamic control surfaces, which we are also working on. And yeah, you might even see gimbals. And the problem with gimbals is that they have a maximum controllable rate of rotation. You find those on drones. And balloon payload flights in extreme conditions can often exceed the rate of rotation of a gimbal. So they don't always work. And in fact, most gimbals, like for drones, which are ones we would try and use, can't really support continuous rotation for multiple revolutions. They eventually get wound up. This thing is likely to spin multiple times uncontrolled about the balloon line. So we need something that can winch
All
out.
right, we're ready to launch.
Yep.
Okay, so it's almost launch time.
Got that.
So I'm getting the final connections taped up on our payload body.
Gorilla tape. Strong.
Yeah. Hey Todd, how do you want to connect to this carabiner? I already taped it up. I didn't think about that.
Tape the carabiner.
Okay. I thought about that.
Oh, so you've done the thing I didn't want you to do. Just undo it.
Yeah. Just undo it. Hey, I already cut this thing in half. But undo it.
Just roll it.
All right, so hopefully everything is good.
I will say Havoc does employ multiple methods of passive stabilization simply because it makes our job easier. We use these styrofoam balls.
So what we're gonna do
that are commonly
We're
put
gonna
on balloon
take the
payloads.
whole line out to there.
We
and
use
launch,
ball
so
bearing
you'll probably need to
swivels on our
the
balloon
camera
line.
that way.
So it's
We might need some
decoupled from
extra
the
help
motion
to carry
of
all
the
this
balloon
stuff.
itself and the rest of the line. So our line doesn't get wound up as we rotate. Instead, we'll have a ball bearing joint that we can swivel freely about. So that actually helps a lot. And of course, we have more of a cylindrical body. We tried to reduce our profile as much as possible. That would create
Your GoPro
rotation.
recording?
It is recording. So passive approaches are
How many
great,
what?
and they're usually suitable. But for us, our focus is high
we're
altitude
using
visual
around
data collection.
286.
So we want to have a stabilized balloon flasher.
I thought we were going to use 400.
Little hun- That's what you said. You don't even have that much.
No, we have 300 cubic feet.
I'm
That's
sorry.
for
I
6,
heard.
That's for
yeah,
6
I know.
meters per second. It's not
Okay,
really
my
good.
bad. I'm sorry.
All
300
right.
cubic feet of helium.
So about, well, right now what we
So-
have in there's like 286 cubic feet, I think
Yeah.
you said?
And we're looking for a 5 meter per
So
second.
you're gonna carry your payload. You're gonna get your payload.
Would you mind taking the tape?
Yeah,
Sure.
Todd, this is satisfaction with you.
Have fun with it.
I'm just, if we don't need this, I'm just gonna rip this part off and throw it out.
You're going to need to get
A lot was
the rest of it too, like
That's
the
what
other
I'm,
half.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Alright.
Up.
360 cameras before.
Alright.
I'm not even sure which way is up. The
Up.
balloon.
So can you go ahead and put this on your box?
On top of my box?
On top of your
Yeah.
box. That'll be the top part of the line.
Okay.
You hold that line.
Here we go.
Alright, so we're gonna take the
Let's
balloon
hope this actually
out
works.
to this little field.
Can I get my smart glasses so I can record?
Yeah, I'll hold it.
Thank you.
I feel the warmth of your camera, Todd. You got the heat hand warmer. He's just taking care of the accents. Don't worry about it.
What?
That's excellent, excellent. Guys, you might want to take it off the actual tripod for this one because it's going to be going up pretty fast.
Yeah, so we'll be.
How do I get it off?
There's a little lever on the bottom.
We're probably gonna move out
This
to the
side?
grassy
Left side.
area to launch anyway. So we'll be walking some.
Alright,
It's over here.
careful, you're dropping stuff.
I'm sorry, I needed to do that. There, just there. Hold on.
I got it.
Got it.
I'm sorry, Todd.
Alright,
Hey, you're still tethered to the
Yep.
computer.
let's move.
Alan?
So you might want to.
It's more of just a point and zoom in at this point.
Yep.
Right now.
Can you keep an eye on our YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Just open the computer. difference. That's how high the balloon is now. Almost can't get it in frame anymore. Four, three, two, one. Lift off. And there it goes. And that way. Oh, we lost it. You still see it?
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Floated to the clouds now.
sadly, we cannot see it from our angle because we're blocked by a building.
That balloon say yeet. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone now.
It's gonna land about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes away from here, about north. Won't be too long of a drive, but we are. However, we're gonna start leaving about an hour and a half or so we can maybe hopefully see it actually fall down. That'd be great. Watching one. So what do we need to do now? About clean up.
We are cleaning up.
What do we
Clean up
need to
time.
clean up?
We are putting the tarp away, dump the water bucket out, put the tank.
Hey, wait,
Yes. And we will. Well, let me check my eye. I'm gonna track it.
Alright.
This is not
Can we get this back on?
What?
Never mind.
Tell me
So are there any other questions you need to answer so far?
Let me go check the chat. I've got a little.
Fantastic. Thank you again. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind just holding it up.
Yeah,
Retrieving the entire balloon.
we have to. If we
Okay,
don't, there's a
so
problem.
we're going to be retrieving the line. The balloon is going to destroy itself, so we can't. Very important distinction.
So yeah, so the balloon itself is going to burst at an altitude of 30 kilometers as it expands too much due to the decreasing pressure as it ascends. And so there's a parachute that you might have seen that's below it, attached to the rest of the line. So the entire balloon line, with all the payloads, are going to ascend on that parachute, and we will be recovering all of them, assuming that some incident does not occur.
For example, we hope that somebody doesn't shoot it down or that it doesn't land in a lake.
We hope it does not land in a lake.
Now we're going swimming.
Trees are our biggest enemy. They love to land in trees. So
What would we do if we landed on a car as it was driving down the
that
road?
happened before.
Listen, we're coming close to 100 launches. It's a possibility.
Hasn't happened yet.
We're
We've
gonna
had,
run empty on this.
we've had many interesting encounters during our ballooning time, but it has not hit a vehicle. We have not snagged a plane yet. But of course, the FAA allows us to do this as long as we abide by their regulations. So we're allowed to freely launch balloons without prior notice. So we're good in the legality sense, but
If you don't know what the FAA is, it's the
Federal Aviation Administration here in the United States. So they are the governing body for all things that fly in the country, including unmanned free balloons. That is how they are defined in their legislature.
Yep. Because if we put something in the air, they better be okay with it, or else we are going to jail.
We're in trouble as an organization that operates on the UAH campus. We do everything the correct way. So do it right.
And we do expect it to fly for about 30 minutes.
It's going to fly for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay.
It will land at a site that's projected to be roughly a 20 minutes drive from here. The nature of it is that, I don't have a map in front of me, but we're going to head east.
I am the map.
We're going to hit a jet stream and go straight west, and then we're going to dip back below that as we descend again, and then we're going to go a little east again. So we're ending a little net north of our current location.
So if it starts here, it's going to go this way, then it's going to whip back over here, then it's just going to keep flying up a little bit.
And so it'll be a long flight, but for us, not a long drive. But we will be tracking it in real time and following it, and hopefully be at the landing site prior to its landing.
Yes.
So we might be able to catch it. And we'll hopefully recover today. We'll have it back.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't land in somebody's backyard and they don't want to give it back to us or something or other.
Likely that will happen, but usually our biggest problem is that we end up in the wilderness in a remote location, and then nobody can help us. If it lands in somebody's yard, usually they're pretty nice, and there's a lot of fields in the north. So I think we won't end up on a mountaintop, which has
we
happened
did last
this
time.
We've happened to land in mountains to the east of here.
They want us all on the screen before we go?
Okay, so we're all going to rejoin here.
All right, fantastic. Are we actually? Let me do something that makes it a lot easier to teleport in the shot.
That's
That is a
really-
lot easier. Have to track down the others.
So the balloon line is now beyond the clouds.
We can't see it.
It's gone. It's out of our hands.
While we're here, does anyone have any more questions?
Yeah, we can answer questions.
Yeah, this is the panel they wanted.
This is the panel.
I think that's everything.
Yeah, I hope everybody's enjoyed our impromptu live stream we have here.
I'm sorry it was late. I honestly thought I hit the go live button and I was wrong.
This happens. We're not live stream
Things happen.
experts. We're ballooning people. Granted, the Space Hardware Club has more than just balloons. We have a rocketry program, which works on rockets. And we also have an autosat program that works on autonomous vehicles, like rovers and other robotic related things. We also participate in the annual CANSAT competition.
Yep.
So-
Remember, Alan, he's the one that described the CANSAT competition last time. Our rocketry program, we have two main teams, and they're both making their own different kinds of rocket engines. One's making a liquid rocket engine, one's making solid rocket motors. It's a great time. I wish I could tell you more about it, but I think I'm not allowed to.
Well, yeah. Government security nonsense with rockets.
Yeah. Everybody in the frame before we sign off.
You know where Todd is?
There we go, we got him.
We're gonna finish up the stream.
They want us all in the frame.
Okay.
Hey, Todd, yeah, we're finishing
Should
stream.
we have
Come
Dr. Cronus on here?
here. We have a viewfinder, you can see it.
Oh, can you see me?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, Todd, you want to sign off for here and maybe plug in Swirl if you want. We're plugging everything.
That would be
Plugging
fantastic.
everything.
Plugging the Space Hardware Club.
Yeah.
Alabama.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. As you can see, we have really nice facilities here at UAH. This is the Swirl building. So we're very, very thankful for the facilities we have here to be able to do all this cool stuff. So I hope y'all at least got a little bit out of it. and I think we'll let them know if we get it back, right? We'll give a little update if we get it back. And,
Yep.
but yeah,
Hopefully you're following live. Currently I'm not, and I'm kind of anxious.
Oh yeah, you want to see where it goes. You want to see it just pop it right now.
Oh yeah, it just, oh, we're descending, guys.
So it's going to go pretty high, and we'll see where it goes. We should only go around 20 minutes away from here,
Yep.
just the way the winds are working out today. So
It should. We brought all the models we could. In fact, I don't know if we could have shared one of the predictions.
I mean, if you have any of those predictions left over, you won't send
you
it.
can drop
I
it
can
in,
send it off.
and we can download the prediction versus the actual flight path if we want.
Dude, that would be great.
So
I
we
can send
run
it.
simulations of the flight using multiple weather models prior to the launch, so we do anticipate the flight duration, the altitude, and the landing site in
Yep.
advance. So.
We do a lot of rigorous testing and simulation to make sure that we're not going to be having to drive like 12 hours away on one of these things.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's not going into the ocean. That's
Yes,
good.
that's the primary goal. Unless it's safer. Anyway, all right. Hope you had a good time. We will get back to you later with everything else. Thank you very much for sharing this with us.